Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. Here's your host, Morgan Colby and Rick Lemon.
What's going on, guys? Hopefully you enjoyed that terrible Thursday night football game.
Dude, this is pre-recorded, so you don't know. That might have been the best game of the season.
The Giants and the Washington football team? Wow.
It's going to be lit.
It took all of me not to say their original name.
Yeah.
By the way, my name is Morgan Colby. Rick Lemon on the other side of the screen. Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. I was gonna ask you, Rick, of all the projected teams for the Washington football team, which one do you like?
Oh gosh, I have to pull up a list. I saw like the Guardians.
There's also the Presidents.
Cool,
that was on the list.
Dumb.
That would be epic.
The Presidents?
Yeah, I kind of like that one. Oh,
that could be that again. I don't. That one could grow on me because the way you said it kind of makes it sound cool. But
I'm glad I make something sound cool.
For one thing in your life.
So, anyway, yeah, I don't know. I mean, a lot of people want him to keep the football team, but it's really, really confusing sometimes.
Okay, I see that. I have the list. So, yeah, Presidents, Red Hogs, Red Wolves. See, that's so dumb to me.
Red Wolves?
Red Hogs is dumb. I think Red Wolves is slightly less dumb, but still kind of dumb.
Why don't you just be the Wolves? Like, why do you got to be the Red Wolves?
Because they want to keep their colors.
So they got to be the Red Wolves. Okay, all right.
The Commanders, Washington Commanders.
The Commanders is not bad.
That's okay. Yeah, Washington Defenders. That sounds like a...
It sounds like a hockey team.
CFL name.
CFL name is probably better. Estimate. But does it not sound like a hockey team name to you?
The Defender. Yeah, I could see it being a hockey team, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I would probably say the Presidents is actually probably the best one on this list.
Yeah, I think that's the one they should go with. We'll see what happens. But they're probably not going to pick for another 6 years anyway. So, not that I'm sounding like super bitter, but.
Dude, what if they were the Presidents and they just changed like their old logo?
Okay.
They just put George Washington's face on it instead. So it's this exact same thing, but just with George Washington or like Abe Lincoln or something.
Let's go. Yeah, but wouldn't that get canceled too?
Why would it get canceled if it's George Washington?
Because they would say something like George Washington owned slaves.
Oh, well. The new Abe Lincoln.
And then they would have to change their name again. Or change their logo. Because it's offensive.
Right. I don't know. Something like that, I guess.
Anyway. You could do Abraham Lincoln as...
That's what I was saying.
A top hat.
Oh.
Just a straight top hat.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be perfect.
Washington football team, you need to bring me and Rick on for your branding strategy.
Yes. I think we do a pretty good job.
That's what we're gonna be good at. Anyway, so today we got trade targets for week 2 every Friday until trade deadlines happen. We'll try to keep it going maybe through the rest of the season. I mean, who knows? Maybe you guys got open trades all dynasty year. So I don't know. Either that or when the trade deadlines hit for most people, week 14 usually, I will shut it down and we'll talk about something else.
Yeah. We'll figure something else out. But until then, we have trade targets for week 2. So before we jump into that, check out our website, fantasychampions.com. Follow us on any social media platform, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, whatever. Type in the FF Champs, Fantasy Champions, you'll find us. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or any other podcast platforms, leave a review, share this podcast with your friends. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, click the bell for notifications, like, and comment a guy that you're targeting this week in trades. Or a trade that happened that you want us to rate. Because we'll do that too. We'll tell you whether you suck or not, or if you should take a trade. Yeah.
We traded Jalen Hurts for Julio Jones today in a league.
We already had Dak Prescott, so.
Yeah, it's not that stupid. It could look very dumb in 5 weeks. Jalen Hurts is going off. Everyone's talking about how he might be MVP this year, and we have Julio Jones who has 5 points a game.
Yeah.
Could happen.
It's a risk we're willing to take, though.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's jump into trade targets for week 2. We have a well-rounded list. Some guys that didn't have the best week 1s that you should reach out on. It might be a little bit difficult to get them, but you should reach out on. And some guys who didn't even play this week. And then a guy who played very, very well. So we'll go through it all with you right now. Number 1 on the list is Ezekiel Elliott. I saw this guy actually on a couple of videos that were pre-week 1. And they were like trade targets to watch out for after week 1 games, something like that.
Yeah.
And Zeke was on the list because they were like, he's going to suck against Tampa. And they just lost Zach Martin. So,
right.
Which happened. And Zeke can't, what do you have? 5 points, I think? 5.9 points and half PPR.
Points, yeah. Yep.
So, Zeke essentially becomes one of the best trade targets because I think it's a compounded thing, right? Zeke was already a late first round pick because of last year, right? In some leagues, he might have fallen to the second round. Because last year he was inefficient, wasn't having a good year. Now he goes out against Tampa, has a really, really tough matchup, and one of his best offensive linemen, one of the best offensive linemen in the NFL right now, gets hurt, and he doesn't have that guy. They completely shift away from throwing to him and running with him altogether because they know it most likely will not work, and there's other ways we can do it. And then they threw it 58, 59 times with Dak Prescott. So for me, a lot of people are going to look at that and go, okay, Zeke's just back to his old ways from last year. He's not going to be that good. He sucks, right? Some people that purchase him. Some people in other leagues are going to be like me, who's obsessed with Zeke and just like I would pay anything.
Pouncing on the opportunity.
But either way, Ezekiel Elliott is a guy that you should target in trades because it wasn't necessarily that Zeke wasn't good in the game against Tampa Bay. It was that he didn't get opportunity, which I would go out on a limb and say they're not going to throw it 60 times every single game with
Dak the
Prescott.
Cowboys, that might be actually going out on a limb.
I don't know. could happen, could not happen. But yeah, that's why I would target Zeke. It might take a package, bro. It might take a huge package. But you got to get him.
Yeah. Especially because it was probably someone's first round pick, so they're not going to just give him up. But there are a lot of people concerned. I mean, I remember going on Twitter right after the game, and there was a lot of fantasy people who were saying to sell Zeke and just say, get rid of him. He's not going to be good this year. And I think that's really unfair, or saying that he looked slow and all this. And did he look slow? I mean, I don't know. I don't really think so. I think he kind of looks like the same Zeke he has the last few years. But yeah, without Zach Martin was a
better,
huge
to be
ball.
honest with you. He's looked faster and quicker. It was a tough matchup.
Yeah, well,
they clearly game planned against it.
Zach Martin is probably the best offensive lineman in football, and he's a guard. Okay, so that means he's one of the most important run blockers in the National Football League. He is the most important run blocker in the National Football League, or at least in the argument to be so. And you lose him, and you go up against arguably the best rush defense in the NFL. The combination of those two things just screamed disaster for Zeke. I remember I dropped him like 10 spots in my rankings in week 1 because of that. I think I had him like RB16, and that was still too high. So, yeah, exactly. Now, going forward, though, he'll be fine because as long as Zach Martin is there, and they're not going to have those tough matchups. I mean, the Chargers is an okay matchup. The Eagles is a good matchup. The Panthers are an okay matchup. The Giants, he doesn't really have a tough matchup. And you could say New England maybe, but New England struggles against the run kind of. So you can make the argument he does not have a tough matchup again until like week 13.
Yeah. I mean,
maybe week 9 against Denver, but
that's fair.
Like he's got a pretty solid schedule going forward. Now would be a good time to trade for him. Also, even if the Cowboys do throw the ball that much, which they're not going to every single week, I kind of said so jokingly. But if they were to throw the ball again 50 times this season, 60 times, do you think Zeke would get more than 2 targets?
Yeah, I would guess. So.
Yeah.
The other thing too is they lost Michael Gallup for 8 weeks. So, or 6 to 8 weeks, I should say. But, so I would feel like that is going to open up Zeke because that happened like later in the game. I think it was midway through the third quarter. So I feel like that would open up Zeke a little bit more to opportunities. And I don't think they're going to be in a shootout with every team that they play.
Right.
You know, like the Chargers this week might be a shootout. We'll see what happens. But Philadelphia, I don't think is going to be a massive shootout for them. I think it's going to be a close game, but it's not going to be like a shootout like the freaking Buccaneers game was. So like, and then you start getting into Carolina, Giants, New England, Minnesota, Denver. Like those teams are just not. It's not going to be a high flying like attack every single week. You might get 35 to 40 targets spread out in that Dallas Cowboys offense. But yeah, no, I think Zeke is susceptible to some bad weeks. He's 26 years old. Like it's going to happen. But at this point, he's a great running back. He has a decent playoff schedule. Actually, Washington twice ain't that good, but see, and now I'm getting screwed up because the playoff schedule is technically speaking, if you do 15,
I think 16, it was just
17,
Washington
Giants,
once, right?
Washington, Arizona.
Yeah, that's what it is.
So that's a little bit better.
That is a little bit better.
Way, go out and buy
championship game against Arizona.
Say it again.
It's not bad. Championship game against Arizona.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. So
they did play good against Derrick Henry.
Let's jump into the next guy. I'm in the wrong show notes. That's great. Which is Saquon Barkley. Now, I put him on this list. I'm a little bit more concerned about Saquon. This is not the first time that he started slow. This is the second year in a row. Because didn't he played one game and got hurt last year the whole season? Is that right?
So in 2020, yeah, but So last year he had a horrible first game, and then his first 3 carries he had in the second game he had 5 yards, right? And then the play that he broke through finally, it was like a 25-yard run. He tore his ACL at the end of the run. So yeah, it hasn't been great, but this is the thing with Barkley. Before the season, everybody was like, you don't. Well, no, it's not even that. It's people were like, you don't want to draft him because of the injuries and they're going to limit him and blah, 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 and all this stuff. And that's true. They have told you since July that they're not going to give Barkley 25 carries to start the season. They're just not. That was never the plan. They're going to ease him back in to being the workhorse.
I'll say this. Rick was willing to draft him top 5, knowing that. And some of you thought he was going to get a workload to start.
Psychopath. Okay.
Yeah, so at least he is consistent. You guys are just like, why is he not playing well? Why didn't he get the opportunity? Well, I'll tell you, we've been knowing this since March.
The reason I was willing to draft him so high, though, is 2 reasons. One, I love Saquon. I can't lie. But number 2 is because I don't think it's going to be like this for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be like this, obviously, week 1.
Right.
And then I think this week against Washington, obviously, we're pre-recording the show.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think he has a good night Thursday night. I mean, maybe we'll see, I guess. But I don't expect him to have a monster game that week. But then it starts
to put people
week 3
in Thursday Night Football on this list, and I did anyway. So
yeah,
whatever.
It's all right. Well, week 3, it starts, I think, against Atlanta. I would expect that would be his first game where you could see him getting a big week. But yeah, first 2 weeks,
I said this on Tuesday's show.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I just said it to you privately. I don't remember. I don't anticipate Saquon getting you're on a short week right now. I was on our Thursday night preview show yesterday. I think he's going to be on a short week, and the reports have come out now that have stated that he was going to be limited on Thursday Night Football. So I don't know what happened in the game.
Exactly.
But if he was limited, then that was already projected to happen.
Right.
And so, yeah, Rick is totally right that there is going to be opportunity for him to improve down the line.
Oh, yeah.
But every time I'm like, okay, I could go out and get something for this guy. And then I go to try to make an offer, and I see 10 rushes for 2.6 yards a carry.
Yeah, but he only played 48% of the offensive snaps.
That's fine. It's still gross.
It is gross, but if he had 80% of the offensive snaps, I think he would have been much better. Now, he was also, again, limited, and I also don't think he was 100% too. I think he looks like he's not slow, but maybe nervous.
Right.
I don't know, but I think just playing more will help him, obviously. But yeah, I don't expect even on Thursday night. Like
I think
we'll see what happens. But I don't think he plays more than like 55% of the snaps.
See, the problem that I have is that you don't want your star running back that you spent in the top 6 to be matchup like dependent. You know, you want him to be.
I don't think he is. I think it's just limitations right now. I don't think he's going to be matchup dependent in 3 weeks from now.
Yeah, I let me watch a couple more weeks of football before.
Well, come back to me after week 3.
Guy. You're the Saquon
Come back
guy.
to me after week 3, and then we'll talk. If he still stinks after the Falcons game, then come back to me.
Okay, all right. That's fine. What you're buying in Saquon, though, regardless of how I feel about him, is the talent.
Yeah.
And I think that they're, obviously limiting him right now. The Giants offense looked okay. Like, what Daniel Jones looked decent. Meh.
Yeah.
Just like the Giants whole team, like meh.
Right.
Whatever.
So my thing with Barkley, I'll quickly just say this because I know we got to move on. But with Barkley, the thing that concerns me with him isn't his slow start or the player himself. It's the offensive line. It looks just as bad as it has the last 3 years.
Yeah.
At least in week 1, it looked horrible. Did you see the picture, the still frame, or the video of one of the plays that happened with the Giants offensive line?
No.
Somebody took a still shot of what happened, and on the play, the left tackle blocks the tight end. Giants players are blocking each other for like a half second, and then they realize it's so bad. And like 2 guys just got a free shot on Daniel Jones. It's so bad.
Yeah, that offensive line's horrible. And the problem is that Saquon's been able to overcome that
in the past. Yeah.
In the past. And now with the injuries, my question is, can he overcome that, or does he need a better offensive line, a better football team around him to have success? We'll see. But I just don't know. Like, it's similar. Like McCaffrey has always, not always, but I don't know about this year, but in the past, he's been on bad teams,
Yeah.
and he's been able to produce in spite of that, or despite of that, I should say. But Saquon is in that same boat. Can he become a top 10 running back or a top 5 running back even for the Giants without a good offensive line, really without a lot of offensive talent? I mean, I guess they got a lot of talent. They just don't know what to do with it. So the Giants suck. They're just bad.
Yeah.
But like I said, you're buying the talent in Saquon, so go out, get him. He's a great trade target this week. Let's move on to our number 3 guy, which is Trey Sermon. Now, you might think like this is going to be a cheap one too, because I feel like people are not having it.
Oh yeah, Sermon. For sure.
So everyone has been a buzz on Twitter discussing Trey Sermon or Elijah Mitchell. Now, I would say, personally, I got Elijah. I'm having such a hard time saying his name. I have Mitchell in a league, and I spent $120 in waiver budget on him. Me and Rick didn't even talk about that yet. Am I crazy?
I thought you were going to answer your own question.
No, I was waiting for you.
No, I think that's a lot. It's definitely a lot. What is that, 50%?
That is over 50%.
More than 60%, something like that.
Stupid part is that I originally was going to do 82 or 83, and I was like, after Raheem Mostert came out, I was like, I got to put all 120 down.
Right.
Either way.
Yeah, I think no, it's not. It's really actually not that crazy. For your situation, you're pretty decent at running back, though. So I don't know. Actually, are you?
I got a stack, bro. I got Swift and Cook.
No, it's not too crazy. I think for teams that like had Mostert on it, it would make a lot more sense, like to spend half your waiver budget on Mitchell.
The playoff stretch is it's too much.
Yeah, no, I don't mind it. My only problem with the 49ers backfield is
it's a rotation.
They're gonna be weeks where.
And here's the thing: is that conventional wisdom would tell you that Elijah Mitchell will go out this week and get all of the opportunity. That's what conventional wisdom would tell you. And the reason why is because people would expect like, Raheem Mostert went down, they're just going to run a rotation. Well, I'm here to tell you that Mitchell had 19 carries and JaMychal Hasty had 1. And so maybe they go into this week and they give all of their carries to Hasty or give all of their carries to Trey Sermon because that back fits the bill a little bit better than Mitchell. But as far as I'm concerned right now, there is no signs that point to them not using Mitchell. There was already reports in camp that Mitchell outdid Trey Sermon. So, right. I mean, for me, it's waiver budget. I really don't care about waiver budget. And Mitchell could end up being this year's James Robinson for all we know. And that's why I'm like, I'll buy that.
No, it's definitely, no, it was a good pickup.
I'll take the risk. But anyway, the point is that Trey Sermon and Elijah Mitchell could be in this, like Rick said, any one of the backs can come out. Now, I will say this. Sermon, for the people that are like, oh, this is Sermon's backfield now. I love Trey Sermon. He's going to come in. Relax. Please. Shut up. He's literally, people are on Twitter right now saying that he's going to get a ton of work this week. And I'm like, he was literally inactive last week.
Yeah.
He's going to come into the game and be what Hasty was this week. Before
with
Mostert
the 49ers, bro, I literally can't say it. They're the most unpredictable team.
They really are.
On the ground.
And that's why I'll say. The answer to the Elijah Mitchell or Trey Sermon conversation is not which one. It's how do I get both? So, I would trade for Trey Sermon, and here's why. They drafted him in the 4th round. I don't know how long Mitchell's going to last. Like, I don't know if he's actually going. I hope to God that for my sake in a lot of fantasy leagues, he ends up being the guy. And I think they would make him the guy over Trey Sermon. I don't think they care about that 4th round value placed on Trey Sermon. But I think that on a week-to-week basis, they're going to see which guy they like more, and they're going to run with that guy. But right now, they don't have, like, Trey Sermon's not an elite pass-catching back, and he wasn't in training camp, and they didn't really like that as a part of his game plan. And you look at, Mitchell, and he didn't pass-catch at all either. So, like, that leaves Hasty to be on pass-catching duties, and is he actually good either? Are they going to use the running back position at all in the passing? I don't know. I don't know what this team's going to do. It really depends on game plan. If they feel like they're going to be losing against Philadelphia early, they won't run Mitchell out there. But I just don't know. I couldn't tell you. I'm not going to try to predict it. If Elijah Mitchell is on a start list this season, I'll be damned because I don't know. I don't know. But I would saddle up Trey Sermon, bring him on your team because I think a lot of people had the expectation. What was he, an 8th round pick?
Yes.
7th round pick, somewhere around there?
Yes. He went 6th round in our draft, but I think in most drafts he was like 8th round, 7th round.
Yeah, so, but if you get Trey Sermon on your team and then Mitchell at some point doesn't end up playing very well and Sermon gets an opportunity, he takes advantage of it and plays really well. He's their 4th round pick. He's going to get the opportunity. And I think this is the opportunity that people expected for Sermon. Now, what you're getting on the plus side is a guy who was straight inactive last week and that I think some people probably dropped. And you can go out and get him for maybe even waiver budget, like peanuts. So I would just go out and try to get Trey Sermon on your team, stick him on your bench, and you'll have both 49ers running backs.
Right. Well, that's the thing with Trey Sermon.
If you don't have Mitchell, you can still go get Sermon. It doesn't really matter. But just make sure you have this guy on your team so if and when the breakout happens, you got him. Yeah. No, that's the only reason you would want Sermon is just because he's cheap right now. Right.
And he could very well start. Like, you're not going out of your way to trade for Trey Sermon, but there's definitely teams that saw what happened, saw that he got benched, and then everybody is on the Elijah Mitchell train. So Trey Sermon, like, a lot of people think that he's kind of still the third back. Obviously, there are the Trey Sermon truthers out there that think he's going to get 30 points this week, but
he's incredible. He's going to destroy everyone.
I think for the most part, more people believe Elijah Mitchell is going to be the guy, when in reality, I think Mitchell will probably be the guy, but there will be weeks where Trey Sermon just all of a sudden gets 18 carries and has 100 yards rushing and a touchdown.
As the 49ers backfield's so hard to predict, but like
they run the hot hand.
Right.
And then sometimes they'll decide like 30 seconds before the game, no, we're actually going to play this guy over this guy. And then they game script a player in to be the workhorse. It makes no sense. I don't understand.
And then
It's
that one player gets hurt and Mitchell somehow plays well.
Kyle Shanahan is just such a clown.
Yeah, he really is. Not saying that I could run it better, but
no, he's a good coach, but he's a clown.
Yeah, I mean, just like you don't need to do that though. Like I understand running an RBBC, that makes sense to me. What he does is just stupid. It's like let's run a different running back every week. Okay, Kyle, shut up. For fantasy people, like whatever.
Right.
But anyway, quickly, the last two guys here, Brandon Eyook. He did not have a very good week this week. I don't think he scored any fantasy points either. Is that right?
No, he did not have a single point. Yeah.
And so I guess there was some injury concern, and they had him very limited. And Debo went out and played what I thought was going to be Brandon Eyook.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think right now it's not time to. I mean, he did have a terrible game, and I had him in some of my DFS lineups, and I got shafted. So whatever, Brandon Eyook, but. I think that at some point this year, yes, he's going to be the wide receiver one for the team when he gets healthy. Can I say the 49ers might have one of the worst training staffs in the NFL? They have so many friggin' injuries every single year. George Kittle always gets hurt. Every running back always gets hurt. Brandon Eyook and Debo always hurt. Jimmy Garoppolo's always hurt. Either they pick up hurt players all the time or their training staff blows. One of the two. Like
probably a combination.
Reapers. But either way. So Eyook is going to train himself back, and hopefully when he gets back, he's the wide receiver one, and he does what Debo did this week. I still believe in his talent. I still believe in his upside. His perception chart was off the handle. So I love Brandon Eyook. He's cheap. Go get him right now.
Yeah, this is another easy one. He got dropped in one of our leagues that we're in.
I wish it was waiver budget. I would have put it all on him.
I know, which is absolutely crazy to me. And I'm looking at an article right now, and it says that people should consider dropping Brandon Eyook, or should at least bench him and be wide receiver 2 or 4. Benching him, bench him. I understand because it's, who knows what Kyle Shanahan. I really just don't understand. But no, dropping him, absolutely not. But people have that mindset. You can trade him for pretty much not close to nothing right now. If you can do that, absolutely get him, put him on your bench, and then wait till he becomes Brandon Eyook again, and then start him week to week. Because before the season started, he was going in the 5th round?
Yeah.
And he was everybody's wide receiver 2 or flex, and now all of a sudden 1 week he's not. Now, it is weird, though. He only played in 47% of the snaps. And then, did you see the quote Kyle Shanahan had about, if Brandon Eyook, if they asked him about playing more, and he's like, if they want him to play more, he needs to be better in practice. Or something like that.
What the freak is that?
Yeah, I don't know. This is why I called him a clown, because I just don't understand what he's doing. But
there are some players that are just more talented, and if he had Barkley, he would bench him.
Yeah.
You got a bad week in practice, you clown. Mitchell's going out there.
Right. Eyook should absolutely be a hold right now, though. But a lot of people don't view it like that, and are just getting rid of him.
I agree. Yeah.
Hop on that.
Yeah, I agree. I think he is, if you have him, he's a hold, and if you don't have him, try to get him, because if the Brandon Eyook owner is sitting out there worried about Brandon Eyook, and you can trade. I mean, don't be a shyster. Don't make it reasonable. I mean, I did offer Ryan Tannehill for Brandon Eyook this week.
Did you?
Yeah, that's being a shyster, though. That's being a jerk. That's trying to school people.
At least you admit it.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if you're listening, you're welcome. But anyway, let's talk about the 5th guy on the list. It's Jamar Chase. This one's going to be a little bit... You're going to have to bring the bag with you. And you're going to have to open it up and take some high-value assets and place them on the table and just look at the other person and say, listen... I want to buy Jamar Chase. Sell him to me, right? If you got to smooth talk him, whatever, just make it happen, because Chase is absurd. Pick the 3 wide receivers, right? What was it? Smith, Chase, and Waddle.
Yeah,
all had good games.
Yeah.
Pick your Justin Jefferson, Rick, right now. Call it.
Oh gosh, I would say not a Waddle. It would go down to Smith or Chase, and I would probably take Chase because I think Burrow's better than Hurts.
Agreed.
Yeah, but I think Smith might be not the best, but he played really good.
He's fantastic.
It's just the Burrow Chase connection though is what makes Chase the number one guy, I think.
Yeah, I 100% agree. But Chase is on our trade target list because I think he's ridiculous, and I think there's a lot of upside for Chase. He had a really good week this week. I think he had 10 targets. Is that correct? Or no, he had 7 targets, 5 catches, 101 yards, and a tutty. So, 20 fantasy points against Minnesota. He has an easy schedule to start. So, at this point, I told Rick before the show, the reason why Chase is on this list right now is because I think there's going to be a situation for Jamar Chase where over the first 5 or 6 weeks of the season, he's just ridiculously good. And at that point, he's going to be like a Calvin Ridley, a DK Metcalf, a Stefan Diggs, that type of player who is absolutely untradeable. And people are going to be like, I can't give him up. He's my wide receiver 1, yada yada yada. And for me, if the Jamar Chase team has a struggling situation at the running back position, and you offer a good running back and you have some depth at that position, I would offer it for Jamar Chase because in 3 weeks you ain't getting him. So you got to buy Chase right now. If you want to buy Chase, you got to buy him right now. And if you don't, it is what it is. I never thought I would talk about a rookie this way, but this class seems just to be like the greatest class to ever live. So whatever.
Wow, that took you all off season. You went from hating on the class to liking the class.
I like the class. Rookies are rookies, bro.
Right. No, that's fair. I mean, there were some rookies that looked like rookies.
That's fair. Terrace Marshall with his 3 catches and 21 yards. Frick me.
Yeah, and a drop, I think.
Listen, don't mention the drop. We don't need to talk about that.
But it's still encouraging because it was 6 targets. Yeah. But yeah, Jamar Chase, though, who would have guessed? Who would have guessed that the 4th overall pick or whatever, 5th overall pick.
Is good at football?
Yeah, is actually really good. And you didn't have to drop him because of his preseason drops. Mm-hmm. That's actually crazy. I couldn't. Yeah, no, he's a good player, man, and I think he's going to be.
Who could have thought?
Startable every single week, and if you can trade for him now, might as well.
Yeah, and I believe I'm trying to find that chart I read this morning where it said he played. I could be wrong. I don't remember if he played 100% of the snaps. I could totally be wrong on that. But either way, I'm not gonna say it in case it's not right. But I think we all knew Jamar Chase was gonna be absurd. And I don't think the question here is we're in a position where, with Jamar Chase and Devonta Smith and Jalen Waddle and some other guys who all had really good week 1s for rookies, right? Jamar Chase's 20 points is awesome. It's great to see. But which one of these guys is going to stay consistent? Because all 3 of them are not going to stay consistent on a week-to-week basis. You're not going to have 3 wide receiver 1 rookie wide receivers. It's not going to happen. You might get one of these guys finished there, and they all had really good week. I remember when T.J. Hawkinson, rookie tight end T.J. Hawkinson, walked into the NFL and scored 19 points week 1, and then didn't get more than 3 points in a game for the rest of the year. It's
or he got 4 points a week.
That could happen to Smith. That could happen to Chase. That could happen to Waddle. That could happen to any one of these guys. I don't know. But if I had to put my chips on a wide receiver, it's clear the connection between Chase, and I don't like talking about connections between receivers, but the connection between Chase and Burrow is there.
Yeah.
And Burrow likes to throw to him. He's not going to throw, he likes Tyler Boyd, he likes T. Higgins, and Higgins got targeted a lot this week. Tyler Boyd, not so much. But it's he clearly likes Jamar Chase, and Jamar Chase is taking that A.J. Green role, and because he's young, and because he's talented, and because he's ridiculous, he's 6 times better than A.J. Green is, currently, than A.J. Green was for the last 3 years. It's because A.J. Green's old. Prime A.J. Green, probably the same conversation, these two. But I'm at this point, he's clearly better, and if they target him early this season like they targeted A.J. Green early last season, and Jamar Chase brings it to the table because he's talented, then I think this guy's going to be really good. Whereas I think as much as I like Jalen Hurts and that Philadelphia offense right now, I think it's going to fluctuate. I think there's going to be weeks where they're really good.
I don't love the offense on the Eagles. They had a good week.
Yeah, they had a good week, but that's why I'm saying like I think they're going to fluctuate. Miami is a 17 to 20 point a game offense, and that's not a good thing for Jalen Waddle. So, and I like Tua, but it just we can call a spade a spade. The Patriots didn't really play that great defensively. The Dolphins only scored 17 points, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe the Dolphins, I think, could be decent on offense.
Who knows? Maybe I'm wrong.
My thing with Waddle is more of just, I mean, we'll see how it plays out, but Will Fuller and Devontae Parker are still going to demand a lot of targets.
Yeah.
And they're not going to throw the ball 50 times a game.
Right.
And I think Waddle will have good weeks. Like, he had a good week this week, and I think he'll have good weeks in the season where he gets like 20 points, but he'll also have weeks where he gets like three or four.
Right.
Well, I think Smith and Chase will be more consistent.
No, that's fair. Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, but like I said, everyone has this rookie wide receiver is Justin Jefferson. Insert rookie wide receiver name here is Justin Jefferson. This year's Justin Jefferson. So I don't like bringing out that conversation because I think every rookie is different. Every player is different. Jamar Chase is not Justin Jefferson. Jamar Chase is Jamar Chase. So, yeah, it's and this doesn't happen that often. So Chase might go out next week and lay a burger. In that case, go out and get Jamar Chase.
Right.
So anyway, yeah, buy Jamar Chase, Eyook, Trey Sermon, Saquon Barkley, Ezekiel Elliott. Get all the boys. Bring all the boys to the yard. This is your all trade team right here. If you come up and get this team, I'm really not excited about your next couple weeks prospect, but
yeah.
Anyway, go stock up on them. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy football. See you later, guys.
See ya.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Champions Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes and YouTube and follow us on Twitter @TheFFChamps.